Hey y'all, so today is going to be the start of my makeup inventory. I've been trying to think of like a few ways I want to do this, but I think for the first couple videos, at least for the products that I don't have a ton of, I'm just gonna go through and kind of show you what I have. But today's video is gonna be foundation, concealer, base primer, and setting spray. So again, the whole point, sorry, this is like a long intro, but the whole point of me doing a makeup inventory is, again, just because we're gonna be moving soon and I need to go through all my makeup. I've mainly gotten rid of most of what I want to get rid of, but this is just for me to kind of weed down products so I'm not moving with products that I don't want. And then also I got a gift card to Sephora and I'm really proud I haven't used it, but I put a lot of stuff in my basket, and so I need to like know exactly what I have, which like I know it's a problem. I should know exactly what I have, and I have like a vague idea. But anyway, the whole point is so that when I go to Sephora, or not like go to Sephora, but like order online, I'm not trying to like order a highlighter when I already have like 7 highlighters or whatever. Does that make sense? Like, I just want to know what I have in my collection so that when I do go to like buy makeup, again, not like physically go to, I'll be like, oh no, I don't need that. So I'm just trying to get better. Anyway, sorry, that was a long intro, but if you want to see my makeup inventory for foundation, concealer, base primer, and setting spray, just keep watching. Okay, so this is going to be like my foundation drawer. So I guess let's go ahead and do primer first. So the first primer that I have is this Too Faced ColourPop Pretty Fresh Primer. This is very like hydrating. So I feel like I can only use this with like a super matte foundation. Kind of honestly makes me look greasy, but I've used a decent amount. It's okay, but again, for me, this is not an everyday primer just because it does make my skin like way too greasy. I honestly feel like it's greasy. So I do like it. I'll use it because I do have foundation that's like very matte. But that's the first face primer. The next primer we have is the Hourglass Veil Primer. Now, this one is like very expensive. I had a miniature one and I'm pretty sure I talked about this in my empties. When I used the miniature one, I loved it. And that was all I was using. And then I got the full size, which is like stupid expensive. And I kind of drifted away from it. It's a good primer, but it's not as good as I remember. But obviously I'm still gonna use it because I got the full size. I think what I have to be careful with is when I use too much of this. So I think less is more with this. I don't necessarily notice flashback. I'm not really taking flash photography pictures anyway. But again, I think less is more with this. But still a good primer. I actually do think it makes my makeup last longer. Whereas the ColourPop one that we just talked about doesn't. It just kind of like primes your skin and makes it moisturizing. I feel like this one does make it last longer. And I thought this one was like smoothing, and maybe it's smoothing in the slightest, but yeah, I still like it. But this is for times when I like really want my makeup to last. Okay, the next face primer is this Rare Beauty. It's a miniature one and it's okay. It's like an illuminating primer. So it gives your skin some glow, but it doesn't moisturize your skin. So also, my glasses are like reflecting the window. I bought the Rare Beauty foundation, the Rare Beauty concealer, the primer, the setting spray, and like the liquid blushes and liquid highlighters, and something was breaking me out. So I gave the foundation, concealer, and setting spray to my sister. I did use it on her for like New Year's, and she, obviously we like stayed at home, duh, but she didn't seem to break out from it. So then I was like, you just keep it because I can't use it. So it sucks because I really liked the concealer. The Rare Beauty foundation just did not work out for me and didn't look good on my skin. But I'm also kind of scared of the primer because I haven't used it since I was using all the Rare Beauty stuff together. So I might have to give this to her if she wants it. But yeah, sorry, that was just a side note. I'm sorry, I'm not, okay, let me stop apologizing, but I feel like I'm not organized. Okay, so that was the Rare Beauty primer, and the last face primer I have is the Too Faced Hangover RX. This is like my go-to primer. It's moisturizing, but it's not too greasy like the ColourPop. It just, like I said, it provides moisture, which the Hourglass and the Rare Beauty don't. And so, but it's not moisture like slick, it's just like hydrated and bouncy almost. I feel like it makes my skin just feel good and not slick, and I actually feel like it's moisturizing. Plus it smells really good. So this is probably my go-to primer that I use most often. And it's like a jumbo version. So right now, this is probably my favorite primer out of the bunch. Okay, let's move on to foundation. So this is my first foundation. It is the Peach Perfect by Too Faced. And what shade am I? Natural Beige. I feel like these foundations, the color, I don't know. I'm really bad at matching my own foundation, but I remember back in the day, like 2 or 3 years ago, I got it and I love this foundation. So I wanted to get it again. And I think it's just a little too matte for me. I love the way it smells. I love the way it makes my skin feel, but looks wise, it's a little too matte. So I actually think it pairs perfectly with that Pretty Fresh concealer because it is so matte. But it does look really good on my skin. I feel like it makes my skin not look poreless, but almost, you know? So I like it. Any foundation or blush, I mean not foundation, any blush or bronzer or highlight lasts really well just because this is such a long wearing foundation. I also will mix this foundation with my tinted moisturizers that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, so my first foundation that I have is the Peach Perfect in the shade Natural Beige. Foundation, I guess I consider it foundation, is I have 2 of these. It's the Too Faced, I mean not Too Faced, why do I keep saying that? The ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer. So I have the shade Medium Dark 13W, and then I have Medium 12W. So when I first got this foundation, it was way too sheer for me, and there's just like no coverage. It was really glowy and I just could not get behind it. But I think I got it in 2020. So obviously we weren't going anywhere. I mean, we're still not going anywhere, but, or I'm not. But the more I got into like cream blush, and I'll still do dramatic eyes, obviously, but I got into cream blush, cream bronzer, and these were fine. And so I think for so long I had conditioned myself to use like full medium to full coverage foundations, and so my skin is like really red anyway, so I always wanted to cover it up. But when I forced myself to use these, because I'm pretty sure these were my go-to foundations before I got my Peach Perfect and before I got this next one that we'll talk about. So I had these foundations with like 1 or 2 other old ones, so I would gravitate towards these, and I was basically forced to use these exclusively, and I started liking it. I mean, it's not a full coverage at all. It's like light to medium at best. So if you're not into that, this is not the foundation for you. Still would set it with a powder to try and prolong it. Other times I wouldn't, and it would be okay. But again, I'm not going anywhere, so there was no need for my makeup to last a long time. But I actually, anyway, sorry, long story short, I actually really, really like these 2. I feel like I needed both colors because medium it fits nice, and again, it's sheer, so it kind of blends into your skin. It was a little bit too light, and then Medium Dark 13 is like a little too orange and a little too dark. I mean, I've used both of these on their own and it was fine because it was sheer, but I could just tell like this light is different. So I do, excuse me, I just burped. I do like mixing the 2. But yeah, those are the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer, tinted moisturizers, and there's hyaluronic acid. So I feel like these really do make your skin feel good. I feel like when you take your makeup off, you know, your skin isn't like strip dry or anything. So I really do like both of these. Okay, so my last foundation, and it's my most recent, which this is like really exciting to me. So This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. I'm in the shade 360. Again, I'm really bad at picking my foundation shade, so yeah, I don't know. But this foundation, oh my gosh, I love this. It's so, I feel like it's really good coverage, but it's also so lightweight on your skin. Truly, I feel like this, I don't know, I feel like I mean, obviously you can tell you're wearing foundation, but it's so lightweight, it's so breathable, and I feel like it looks really good on your skin. So as of right now, this one is my favorite foundation of my, how many do I have? Oh, that's what I should have done. Okay, I'll do a count when I'm editing. 1, 2, okay, so out of my 4 foundations, this one's my favorite. I mean, they all have different purposes, right? Like this is probably like one that I'm like, I don't think about, it'll be good, it'll go with everything, my number 1. The tinted moisturizers are obviously more sheer, and then the Too Faced peach one, that one is obviously like, I want nothing to happen to my makeup. Oh, also, I would mix the Peach Perfect and the ColourPop just because I needed a little bit more, slightly bit more moisture for this one. Anyway, this one is really amazing. The Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear, it's so good. The only thing is, it smells really good, but I don't really like when my foundations are scented. I mean, hello, this one's scented. I can't remember what this one smells like. So I guess it's not a huge deal because I have other ones. But yeah, this one's really good. So out of my 4 foundations, that one is my favorite. And for primer, let's just go ahead and recap. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 primers as well. Okay, so for concealer, I also got the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer. And I have the shade, I have light 50W and then medium 90W. And you know what's crazy? I feel like no one, well maybe not no one, but every ColourPop concealer that I've had this brand of it, I guess, and then I had the original one that they came out with, they oxidize like crazy. So while I'm never like a light in anything, I still use the light one because it will oxidize, but I usually mix these two. Now, they're really good concealers. They're affordable. They aren't my favorite. I'll talk about my favorite, but these are great. They get the job done, and I really like how it's, I don't know, like a bigger packaging, like a fat packaging. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, these are great. They're way more full coverage, or I guess they're way more coverage than the tinted moisturizer. So if you pair them together, you just, or in my opinion, I feel like you have to have a lighter hand with this if you're using it alongside the tinted moisturizer, because the tinted moisturizer is like sheer and barely any coverage, and this is like way more coverage in contrast. So that's what I would say. I don't use a ton of concealer anyway, but I have those two. Third concealer is this MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. Now, sorry, I hate opening. This is like the pump that it comes in. So if I'm being honest, I don't use this concealer very often because really just the applicator. So you pump it out and you have to be able to control how much you pump out. It's a little bit of a thinner product, but I want to say it's full coverage. A little bit goes a long way. And so I feel like, to me, it's not as easily applied to the skin, because like obviously these ones have doe foot, so you can just swipe it on. You kind of have to work a little bit harder with this one. So truly that's like why I hardly use it. When I have used it, I think I've liked it, and again, I only used it a handful of times, so that's really like not okay of me. I'm in the shade NC30, probably won't be able to see it, and I feel like it's a nice match. I really need to get better at using this, so reminder to myself, this is my 3rd concealer. I do need to use it more, so I do like it though. Now for my favorite concealer literally ever, this is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer. Sorry, it's not focusing. And this is my favorite concealer. I talked about it in my empties. This is the shade 3W. My first one that I ever had was in 3N, and it was perfect, and I forgot what shade it was, so when I went to go repurchase it, I got 3W. So this one is a little warm under my eyes, but I love the formula. Hold on, let me just put it like this. I love the formula. It just glides on. It blends in so easily. It's not heavy. It's not cakey under your eyes. It just melts into your skin. Seriously, this is like my favorite concealer. And I'm really glad I found it because I know I'm going to keep purchasing it. So anyway, I would say I use this one the most, but since it's not my perfect match, I have started using these a little bit more. But I do want to go and just get 3 in just so I can have the right one. But again, I talked about it in my empties. I used that one up, which is amazing. I mean, I pretty much used it up before it got, you know, super old. But I do want to get my own, like a better shade for myself, but I have 4 concealers. I can make all of these work, so I'm not going to anytime soon. But yeah, this one is so good. It's really great. I'm sorry, it's not focusing, but yeah, this is like my favorite concealer. Okay, so that was my primers. I have 4 primers. My concealer, I have my foundation, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 foundations, and my concealer, I have 4 concealers. That's so crazy that it worked out that way. But let's go ahead and talk about setting spray. Okay, so I really only have 2 setting sprays. I have the MAC Fix Plus. This is the matte version, and it's a little unfortunate because I actually ordered like the normal Fix Plus, but they sent this one to me instead. And to be honest, I think, hold on, this is not focusing. And to be honest, I think I've told y'all before, I just don't, I don't return stuff, and I was just like, whatever, I'll just deal with it. So this one actually does make your face matte, which I don't mind too much. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a dewy finish person because my skin eventually will produce those oils. I like more of a satin finish, but if you do have something that's like overly dewy, like if I was using the foundation that we just talked about and everything was just too much, like this will actually mattify your skin. The only thing is, I don't know how it would work with like wetting your eyeshadow. So yeah, I don't know. This is one of the 2 that I have. The other one that I have is the Urban Decay All Nighter. This one is kind of a classic. It'll make your makeup last for a really long time. I used to have, like I said, the Rare Beauty one. That one was like oil on top or something, so you had to shake it, and that one made your skin glowy. But again, I didn't know what of those products were breaking me out, so I got rid of it. But yeah, there's really not too much to say about these setting sprays. I haven't tried to use either of them to wet eyeshadow. I used to use normal MAC Fix Plus, but I probably would use the All Nighter just because this is a matte one. But yeah, those are my 2 setting sprays. And to be honest, I don't use setting spray every time I do my makeup, so I don't need a bunch. Okay, so I feel like that was a quick video, but I know it was still like 17 or 18 minutes of footage. That was my first makeup, why am I doing this? That was my first makeup inventory video, and since it was my first one, I feel like I didn't plan it out as like detailed as I should, but at least, I mean, if anyone is watching this, love it. But if I go back and watch it, at least I know, okay, now I have 4 primers. So weird that it ended up all being 4, but 4 primers, 4 foundations, 4 concealers, 2 setting sprays. And I am one to like, oh, I really want to try like this new foundation. I really want to go back to my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, but I know I have ones that I really do like. So I think it's kind of just to keep myself in check, or at least try to keep myself in check. Like I literally just bought like something yesterday, so we're trying. But yeah, if you, well, I don't know if you would. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I will talk to you later. Bye.